Backed by some of the world's biggest companies, South Korea is building momentum in its bid for Busan to hold the World Expo in 2030. The country's second largest metropolis, Busan, is known as an eco-delta smart city, an urban centre designed with robots, AI and AR in mind. Our South Korean correspondent, Jacko Zwetsloot, joins us to talk about this high-stakes bid. Jacko, the decision on the World Expo will be made in November. How optimistic are the South Koreans of securing it?
Well, it's a good question. There might be a lot of optimism down in Busan, which, as you mentioned, is the second city of South Korea. But that's about 4 hours away from Seoul, where I'm based. And in Seoul, it's hard to see any excitement just yet. I think that there might be a little bit of confusion because it's only been 11 years since South Korea last had a World Expo, which was exactly 10 years ago. It was in Yeosu, it was in 2012. And so some people might be thinking, well, why are we getting another one so soon? In 2030. But I'm sure down in Busan they're quite excited and optimistic about it.
The support and spending on the bid by corporates is significant. Talk us through the economics of winning an expo.
Yes, I haven't seen the numbers yet just on what it costs to win the bid, but I have seen about what the expo will cost. And the estimates of the bid committee, who are trying to get the expo to Busan, are that if they spend 3.6 billion with a B US dollars into building the site and organizing the activities, that will be expected to bring in more than $44.8 billion in revenue and over 34 million visitors. And the national government has thrown its weight behind the project. President Yoon Suk-yeol has made winning the expo a national task. And as you mentioned, large Korean conglomerates like Samsung Electronics, POSCO Steel, SK Group, LG Electronics, Hyundai Motor, they're all on board in support of the bid, and they're spending some of their money, for example, by sending representatives around the world to woo officials locally. Others are inviting some officials to Korea on junkets, and political leaders and foreign diplomats are also targets for persuasion campaigns. So there's a lot of effort being put into this.
Absolutely. How important is Busan being an eco-smart city to the bidding process?
Yeah, it's not the whole city, but the Korean national government chose a neighborhood of Busan to make into this eco-delta smart city back in January 2018. And that's going to be a test bed for a national smart city pilot project. And the intention there is to bring in new technologies related to the concept of the fourth industrial revolution, to create a kind of innovation ecosystem and be a leading model for future smart cities, both in Korea and outside Korea as well. And World Expos, as we know, are a way of really showing off the best of the present and the visions of future technology. And part of that involves demonstrating what a smart city could look like, what a smart port would be like. And that's why Busan's important, because it's a port city, using the best technology to speed up and to clean up how a port works, with maritime research and development zone nearby as well. So it's all connected.
What about privacy issues with this? Because there's a huge amount of personal data sharing across the city. How are people responding to that?
Yeah, in particular, those people who have moved into the household specially built for them in the Eco-Delta Smart City, they are literally sharing data on all aspects of their lives, their health, their consumption patterns, what energy they use, what time they watch TV, not necessarily what they watch on TV, but what time they're switching it on. And that is a lot of data that's supposed to help to make even smarter cities and better homes in the future. And there are certainly skeptical and critical voices warning that giving so much data away for free is a kind of a deal with the devil, to hand over almost complete transparency into your personal life in exchange for free rent in a modern house in this suburb. So I did see a report from March from the New York Times that said that a committee was drafting privacy guidelines, but since the people had already moved in by February, it might be a little bit late, and all the data shared is apparently encrypted. So they are taking some precautions. And nevertheless, it may be a step too far for some people, so they may choose not to live in this particular neighborhood that's part of this experiment in massive data sharing.
What are some of the innovations that we'll be looking forward to in 2030?
Oh, gosh, well, there's so many there. They're talking about robots in the home, home healthcare, not just telemedicine, but machines that will be able to help you to fix yourself or to at least get some basic testing done at home. We're talking about smart farming in and around the households, environmental and safety technologies. But it really is early days. A lot of these things are still in the concept or the prototypical prototype stage, so it'll be a while before they get commercialized. But they're hoping that certainly by 2030, so the next 8 years, they'll be able to have some of these things ready for the early start in the market.